The Real Madrid game against Mallorca was a disappointing game, to say the least. I did feel like we played well initially from the start of the game, but as time went on, it felt like we were lackluster and we were losing a lot of, the chances we should have created, the things we should have done better, the things we should have done differently. I felt like those things weren't done. Now, at the start of the game, I feel like we did play well. We did play well. The goal was from Vinicius, his creativity. But at the start of the game, they were getting rough and everything and trying to put the hands on Vinicius, and the game was a bit rowdy. But over time, we grew into the game. That's why I would say Vinicius actually played well. I thought he played well. I saw online most people, because I watched the game. I was up to 2 a.m. in the morning watching this game, and I was like, I wanted to make a video, but I was like, really? I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch this. I was like, bloody hell, I'll do it tomorrow morning. And I think it's the third day now. I was just like, it was disappointing because I felt like we could have beat them. But there's a lot of mistakes made. That was the annoying thing. That was the frustrating thing, because I felt like Vinicius did play well. It was very dynamic, but I felt like the combination there, it wasn't really working. Him, Mbappe, Rodrigo, they weren't really working. Now I would say I think we need to stray away from the 4-3-3. I think we need to go back to the diamond formation, or even do something completely different. I don't mind that. But the difficulty is trying to play with these three players that all are predominantly left wingers. Now, Vinicius is a left winger. Mbappe is predominantly a left winger. The same goes for Rodrigo. He can play on the right. Now, one thing that I loved in the previous game against Atalanta, where I was giving them so much praise, is the fluidity and the movement. And Carlo Ancelotti said this one thing, like I said in that previous video. He said there's fluidity in that front line. Now, the issue with that is there needs to be structure. Even in fluidity, there needs to be structure. Because you cannot have Vinicius on the left and Mbappe wandering to the left, and Vinicius is still on the left, and Rodrigo comes from the right all the way to the left to do what? Exactly. You cannot have three players, your front three, all wandering to the left. To do what? There was a chance Mbappe had. He was running through. It was the one time he got space to run into. And if he just raised his head up, he would have found Vinicius on the other side making the run. Now, that's what I'm saying is the structure and fluidity. Vinicius saw that Mbappe is running down the middle. Others were coming from behind. This was a counter-attack. Vinicius is running down the right. Mbappe took his head up. That would have been another goal. We could have potentially won the first game of the season. Now, it's very important to win the first game of the season. This is a given, but we can't be harsh on this team, because it's like we can't be harsh on this team for the first five to 10 games, because they need to get used to playing with each other, and people need to be patient. People need to realize that, it's not easy to do all this. To try to utilize players that are all so similar, to try to use all of them in different positions and try to make them more fluid and make them all move around the front line cohesively. It's difficult. But that's the thing. I feel like Vinicius was in the game and he played well, and people say he didn't play well, it's frustrating. I didn't think so. I think Mbappe was frustrating. I think Vinicius was the one who created the chance. Back heel, lovely, lovely goal. Taking the ball and taking it from Bellingham, I think, and then flicking it back to Rodrigo. Rodrigo fake shot, then bent it. You see, that's the beautiful thing about Rodrigo. He's a left winger. This is why he could go to Man City, Liverpool, and start Arsenal, anywhere. This is the lovely thing about Rodrigo. But you see, from then on out, I thought, okay, we scored the first goal, we'll be all right. I left the game to play on the background, and I came back, and all of a sudden they've scored, and I was like, what? I didn't even see the goal at first. Then I came back, I was like, of course it's from a freaking corner kick. That was the only dangerous thing they had. They were parking the bus. I was like, Jesus Christ. And it was a low block. So like, they were difficult to break down because they were playing such a deep line. It was ridiculous. But that's what you expect from the bottom half teams. It's just the reality. And they were celebrating this left back of theirs. He got a tackle in that Rodrigo should have finished. And he was celebrating like they just won the Champions League. I was like, calm down, man. Like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. But ultimately, I felt like the game just went away from us. I think Mbappe had so many chances. I was like, how has he not scored yet? So many shots, so many chances, so many times he could have dribbled, so many times he could have done much, much better on the ball. He's just fumbling. I felt like his dribbling, his ball control, his tight possession, all of that has been in disarray. Like, none of that has been good in these first two games that he's played for us. And I feel like that's fine because he will take time to get going. But even in the first game, there were like times he would try to control the ball and it would be clunky. On the first touch, it wouldn't really go well. So it was just difficult, you know, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Rodrigo really wasn't in the game, like, at all. But he did score the goal. Apart from the goal, he did have a few close chances, but realistically, it's the same thing over and over with Rodrigo. And all of them were trying to move to the left. Like, there needs to be structure. If Mbappe is moving to the left from the middle, Vinicius should go to the middle. If Rodrigo is coming in, Vinicius go to the right wing and stay there until the attack breaks down or the move breaks down, and then go to your original positions you were assigned at the start of the game. It's not difficult. I felt like this game was really frustrating, and we were giving them so many chances. That I can't remember his name, the left back. He was jarring because he was just getting so much space and time. And I was like, bruh, why are we letting this guy just whip crosses in over and over and over again? I was like, can't we see the danger? Like, the danger from this guy. And his crosses are so good. They were so good. He was whipping that thing. Like, the amount of whip he got that, it was ridiculous. I was like, why are we letting this guy whip the ball like this? And obviously they scored from a freaking corner kick. I was just like, bruh. And we could have scored. We could have scored and won the match eventually, but we didn't. That was the annoying thing about the entire thing. I didn't think like people played badly. I think Courtois played well. I think Mendy was fine. Like, realistically, they played a low block. Like I said, the only outlet they were really getting is that left back. He was jarring. And there were a few times they would like get on the attack and like our moves would break down. I felt like we were giving them space to, you know, get into the game. I was like, why are we allowing them to get into the game? These people are playing a low block. Like, what? The game was just a frustrating game all around. I feel like Bellingham also played well. Like, let me talk about the players a bit. Courtois played well. Didn't really have too much to do. But overall, I wouldn't say he was bad. Made a couple good saves here and there. But I wouldn't say it was bad at all. And Carvalho, because Vasquez came on, I think. Carvalho, also good. Realistically, that backline was completely fine. They didn't really have that much to do. Low block. As simple as that, really. Rudiger should have done much better with the goal they scored. The thing is, he jumped, but he jumped too early. So he jumped and the ball went over his head down to the player behind him. And he headed it into the goal. And the thing with Rudiger is, I just don't feel like he's as good in the air as Eder Militao, or he's as domineering as Eder Militao, because Eder Militao on the ball, in the air, is just so dominant. And he jumps so high. For someone who's even shorter than Rudiger, he's shorter than Rudiger. Rudiger is 190 centimeters, Eder Militao is about 186. But I feel like Rudiger doesn't feel like he needs to jump as much, normally, because he's taller. But the thing I thought is, he's not as dominating in the air as Eder Militao, and that's one thing I would say he needs to work on. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I feel like that's one part of his game where Eder Militao excels over him. And obviously there's things that Rudiger is better than Eder Militao at, like there's aggressiveness, tenacity. They're both tenacious. It's just Rudiger probably is more tenacious, and like the speed, but I feel like that's something he needs to work on and, improve upon with time. But ultimately, we could have scored more goals too, and this point would be irrelevant because it was just one goal conceded and we won the game 3-1, but that didn't happen, did it? The midfield, Tchouaméni came off. We were trying to look for more offensive options. I get why he did it, but probably a bit too late. And then he started bringing on players. Adegola, Carlo Ancelotti started bringing on players. Adegola, I think Brahim Diaz came on left wing. Who else came on? I don't even remember. I was like, this is too little, too late. But in the midfield, Tchouaméni was okay, but that, we need to push forward and be more attacking. And if you wanted to make those changes, you should have made those changes at the 60th minute. Even 70th. It was later on. I was like, what's the point of bringing them on now? It's not going to make a difference. Mendy also got a red card at the end of the game. So stupid. I was like, why? Why? What was the point? It was literally the end of the game. He didn't even try to make it misconspicuous. That was it for the game, really. Bellingham was good. It was good. He did his thing, running around, chasing, making the passes and being, that player. But that front line, none of them were effective. None of them. Vinicius was probably the most effective out of all of them, and even he wasn't that effective in the game because he was trying. You could see he was trying, but the players were not finishing it off. But when Mbappe did get the chance, he was wasteful. But I don't blame him because it will take time. But we need to be patient. No one should be like, oh, this and that. Calm down. It will take time, and patience is the key. We'll be all right. It's one game. I think people need to calm down because I saw a lot of reactions. I was like, okay, it's not great, but it's not as bad as we think. It's a draw. We didn't lose the game. It's a draw. So I think it'll be all right. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. I'll see you around in the next video. Cheers.